Good evening. Welcome to the Arsenal Nottingham Forest match preview. And I've got two wonderful guests. I've got GTalks Arsenal next to me, and I've got Brenny. How are you both doing, mate?
Over to you, Brenny.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But like I said to you yesterday, I didn't see the game yesterday, but I'm just relieved that we're not in second or third in the Europa League table.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah, man. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad it's Friday, and that's for sure. It's been a bit of a tiring week at work. Last night, obviously, the game didn't go exactly to plan. It would have been nice to, wrap everything up with a game to spare, but Brenny said, we're still sitting pretty at the top of the table. So no meltdown here. And yeah, we move, man. Obviously, looking ahead to game on Sunday against Forest.
Yeah, and that's what we're all here for. Let's just get into the comments because where is Bobby? We were like a minute late just because we were having a chat backstage. We were having a nice little chat. Can't help being a little bit late. I do try and be as on time as I possibly can. Big up to DWTT. Hope you're doing well, and big up to Tony as well. So yeah, we're talking about the Forest game in 2 days. How are we feeling? We're feeling very confident about this one.
You know what? It's a strange one because I think when we were live during the week, I'm not sure if it was I think it was when I was live on that at the Arsenal Lounge. I was speaking about the Nottingham Forest game, and I was pretty confident. And obviously that's just been based on the fact that we have started the season well, regardless of your opinion. Different sections of the Arsenal fan base have a different perception on how we're doing, but we are 2 points clear at the top of the table. We are top of our Europa League group, and we've had an exceptional start to the season. Like I was saying backstage, if anybody had said, 11 games, if you include Europe, 16 games in, we'd be both top of the Premier League and the Europa League table. I think we would have all, shook your hand and took that right at the start. So, it's no time to be, pessimistic. It's no time to be negative. At the same time, I think if you had asked me that same question a couple of weeks ago, I would have been definitely a lot more confident in that. I would have said, easily at home against Nottingham Forest, bottom of the table, conceded loads of goals, struggling to score. I think 9 points in 12. I would have said, yeah, we'll handsomely beat them 3-4, if not 5-0. Yeah. At the moment, a couple of days later, but in context of the last kind of 4 or 5 games, I still feel confident, but just not as confident as I was. And that's the best way I can put it, really.
Yeah, obviously Brenny's had to drop out, so I'll get whilst hopefully Brenny comes back. I'll just get into some more comments. Evening, Luke. Hope you're doing well. Not good enough, according to King. Look, we're having a nice chat. I can't help it, but big up to you, King. DWG saying hi to people. Lovely to see everyone just talking to each other. Fantastic. Oh, here comes Brenny. So we'll ask Brenny if Brenny can get. How are you feeling about the Sunday game?
I'm feeling good about it. I feel we'll get the win, but I like to see us win comfortably and absolutely batter Forest this weekend. But I cannot see it. I can see a win, but I can only see us maybe scoring 2 or 3 goals. I mean, obviously, I'll give my prediction before the end of the stream, but I don't see us. Like when we have a loss, regardless of what competition we're in. When over the years, George Graham and Arsene Wenger sides used to do it, where you get that response.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You get that response, and I'm gonna go back in time again, like I normally do. But the biggest one probably ever for me was when we lost to Man United in the 99 FA Cup semi-final. And I thought, how are we gonna bounce? And that hurt. And I thought, how are we gonna bounce back from that? And then we played Wimbledon the following Monday. We absolutely annihilated Wimbledon from the get-go. You know what I mean? And I thought, even though we didn't win the league that season, we lost to United by a point. That's the type of response I would like us to see anytime we lose a game, anytime. You know what I mean? So Yeah, I'm glad we're playing Forest. I mean, I know they'll be buoyed by their win last week, but I did feel towards the end of the game, Liverpool were unlucky not to equalise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am feeling confident about Sunday's game. Definitely, yeah.
Well, it's funny you actually mentioned 99. The last time we played Forest at home was 1998 in that season. That was the last
Yeah.
time we played him in the league.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Look at GTalks' face. That's quite
Yeah.
surprising, isn't it? Because I
Yeah.
thought I'd quickly Google it to see, and it's 1998, and we won 2-1. And I wonder if you can guess the goal scorers. G, I'll start with you first.
I wouldn't have a clue. I remember the loss to the semi-final against Man United, and I was going to jump in on that because only 2 games as an Arsenal fan have kind of brought me to tears or close to tears, and one was that FA Cup semi-final loss. You're talking about the one when obviously Bergkamp missed a penalty and then Giggsy went up the other end and did his magic. And then the second game was the Champions League final against Barcelona. Those 2 games for me just absolutely traumatized me as an Arsenal fan. But yeah, in terms of the Nottingham Forest in '99, I mean, I haven't a clue. I'm just going to go with, I don't know. I just go with the 2 frontmen, Bergkamp and Wright.
Okay. What about you, Brenny? I won't give you the answers until you've both had a guess.
Okay. Well, that was you're talking about the Highbury game.
Yeah.
It was like Highbury, yeah, because we won 2-1, and I remember that was the opening game of the season. It was live on Sky.
Yeah.
I think it was a Monday night.
Wow.
I cannot remember who scored. I'm trying to remember who scored the first goal, but I know Manuel Petit definitely scored the second goal.
You got some memory, Brenny, but
Manuel Petit did.
Oh no! What a bad
You
time!
lost him. He
No.
basically said we won the game 2-1, and he said Petit was one of the goal scorers, but
He definitely was.
We lost the second, man. Brenny.
Yeah.
Brenny.
Hopefully he comes back. I'm going to leave him there because hopefully it just reconnects. But Petit has definitely won. But I want him to see if he can guess the second one.
Yeah,
I really do.
Luke's put 2 goal scorers in the chat. I don't know whether or not he's accurate because, like I say, I can't go back that far. I mean, in '99, yeah, I'm not even sure how old I was, man. Probably I started secondary school in '96 or '97. So yeah, I must have been about 15, maybe 15, 16 at that in that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, he's gone for now. So the actual answer was Overmars and Petit.
Oh,
they were the goal scorers.
There we go.
So, but I have to go through the lineup because the lineup makes me cry because it's a beautiful lineup for me.
Yeah.
So we had Seaman in goal, Dixon, Winterburn, Adams, and Keown, Ray Parlour, Mark Overmars, Petit, Vieira, Anelka, and Bergkamp.
Wow.
That was the lineup. He's back. Sorry, Brenny, I have had to give the answer away. Did you know what? The second one.
Sorry, it's just my broadband. It's gone down. I have to have words with Sky. So I've gone to the phone. Yeah, I'm not going to go back. Yeah, so Petit was definitely one of the scorers, though.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Can you think of the second one? I have given the answer away to everyone that's watching, but
okay. I can't remember whether he scored the first or the second goal. To be honest, but I knew he scored.
Petit scored the first goal.
Scored the first goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
The second goal. That was probably either. That's a tough one. I'm going. It's probably either Anelka. I think it was.
No, Overmars.
Yeah. Okay.
I've just gone through the lineup of we had Seaman, Dixon, Winterburn, Adams, Keown, Parlour, Overmars, Petit, Vieira, Anelka, and Bergkamp. That was our lineup for that night. It's just beautiful. It actually gives you tingles just saying all those names, and you go, "Oh, what a team that was!"
What a team, man!
And obviously, we lost the championship by 1 point that year as well. So
yeah,
bit of a sucker, but never mind. So I've been looking at our previous results. We've not kept a clean sheet at home in the Premier League this season. Is that a concern?
Yes. I mean, it's because we can score goals at home, but you don't want to be in a situation where someone someone comes to us and parks the bus, and we can't break them down, and then we get hit on the counter late on in the second half, and we're 1-0 down.
Yeah, definitely. It makes, I think the fact that we haven't kept a clean sheet at home, I think what it basically does is, because obviously the Arsenal defenders and the goalkeeper and the club and the coaching staff, they'll be aware of that. That's something that they'll be aware of. It will be, at the back of their minds, but also for the opposition, it gives, because they do their homework as well. And what it will do is give the opposition, that kind of hope that, we can go to the Emirates and nick a goal. We can get something. So, if we, like Brenny said, if we sit back, if we're tight, if we park the bus, at some point, every game this season they've conceded. So we'll get an opportunity. And when we get that opportunity, we've got to take it. So it will definitely be playing on the minds of the Arsenal players, and it will definitely be something that will be given opposition, teams, despite we've got a good record at home, it will still be giving teams hope that, look, when we go to the Emirates, there is a chance we can nick a goal and come away with something. So if they can just do their job in terms of not conceding, there's always a chance of getting a result at the Emirates. But like I said, having said that, we've been playing well there, so fingers crossed.
The only positive I would say for all us is Forest haven't won away from home yet, so let's hope that stays the same. I just want to get into some comments because they are starting to build up a little bit. Top of the Premier League, group tables by 2 points, with the next match requiring a win to stop the rot and win the group. Big pressure time. Yep. I've upset King. I do apologise. There's Luke's guest for earlier. Good evening to Solo. Hope you're doing well, mate. Luke saying those were the days. They definitely were. Talks Arsenal, you make me feel old.
Sorry about that, bro. Sorry about that.
Greetings and salutations from Benchwarmers podcast. Hope you're doing well. And Solo saying here, should I tell you what the United lineup was then? That would make you guys feel sick. Not really.
Yeah.
It's significant to us
that anyway.
And 9 in the chat, please hit the like and subscribe button. Right. So I obviously ask everyone to send their teams in. Now, obviously, there's a possibility that Gabriel could be out. We don't know. No one's confirmed it. So what I've done pre-possible Gabriel might be fine, or he might actually be injured. So I've done 2 lots of lineups for everybody. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put the team up where Gabriel is fine. Now, this is actually, funny enough, you both went for the same teams the first time round.
Nice.
And so did Satvic and so did Luke. So you went for Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli. Why did you go for that lineup, guys?
For me, I think that lineup pretty much picks itself. I think if we're to look at the squad we have as a whole, and right now that is available, I don't think there's any chance or any risk or any potential for any of the players that are sitting on the bench or on the fringes of the first 11 that can get into that side. Like for me, Ramsdale is clearly better than Turner. I think Ben White has absolutely nailed down the right back spot. Gabriel and Saliba have been, at times, obviously there are individual errors. There might have been certain games when Gabriel might have outperformed Saliba or Saliba might have outperformed Gabriel. But as a partnership, considering their age, considering Saliba's first season in the Premier League, I think they've been exceptional. At left back, KT defensively is still, in my opinion, our best left back. However, I believe that Zinchenko offers a lot more going forward. So depending on the opposition, it kind of depends for me, who plays in that spot. So having KT in the team and Zinni not in the side for me is not really, per se a weakness. It's kind of a like for like. They both have different qualities. They both play football differently. But yeah, you can't be worried or concerned, for the fact that you see KT on the team sheet. In midfield, quite clearly for me, there isn't a single. Well, let's face it. Right now, the only midfielder that we have available to either rotate or add competition for Xhaka and Partey is Sambi, and for me, he's just not at that level yet. So that common sense just prevails there. They have to start. Odegaard, for me, again, you got Vieira that's coming to the side, but for me, Odegaard is somebody that I would pick ahead of him. And then the front three, you're looking at Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka. I mean, again, you know, I can't see any rationale or common sense where you would envision picking the likes of Marquinhos or Eddie over them three. I think the only, or dare I say it, Nelson. I'm going to mention Nelson this time because I completely forgot about him. You know, what human being with any
I'm going to hide in a minute when I show you my team.
Listen, no, come on, Bobby, man. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it. Like, what human being with any ounce of sanity would pick Nelson, Eddie, or Marquinhos over those three? I have no idea, and I mean no offense when I say
Thankfully, one of those players is not the ones I've chosen, so that's good.
Yeah.
So I have chosen someone else.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I'm not crazy. Brenny, why did you go for that team?
No, you know what? Just echoing what G was saying. You know what I mean? I'm 110% agree with everything you just said just there, and that team does picks itself. And Kieran Tierney, for me, I think defense. He is probably I'll say our best left back.
Yeah.
I mean, I do rate Zinchenko, but when it comes to say not so much going forward, but when it comes to defending, Kieran Tierney's the man. And he gives a better balance on that left hand side than Tomiyasu does.
Yeah.
Because Tomiyasu, I mean, I'm a big Tomiyasu fan, but for me, he hasn't got 2 feet. He's just got that right foot. And when he looked, I see against Southampton last week, he looked more comfortable on that right hand side. Late in the game compared to the left. So yeah, and I think and for me, Ben White with Saliba as a partnership, I've always been looking forward to. Something that I think it can grow just like Gabriel Saliba has, and I think this partnership can grow as well. You know.
Yeah. So I think that is your next one, which I think is this one. Because that's the one you went for with Ben White and Saliba at the back. So that was obviously if Gabriel is injured. This is Brenny's lineup. Also, King from King's Football Show, he went for that one, and so did Luke. Squad, this one is Tony's. Tony, obviously, unsurprisingly, chose Holding, which does not surprise anybody in the house. Yeah. He went for Tommy at the left, though, and Ben White at the right. So, obviously, Brenny's already explained about the left situation with Tomiyasu. We're not that confident with him on the left. The net squad is that's yours, G, if Gabriel is injured. So can you explain that one to me with Tomiyasu at centre back?
Yeah, you know what it is for me? It's like when I look at the situation with, if Gabriel is out, I just think to myself, if we're going to make a change in the back four, it's better to make one change than make two. Okay. And the reason why I say that is if we move Ben White next to Saliba, and then we move somebody in at, kind of right back, I just feel like in terms of like consistency, in terms of where players have been playing, I just think it's better with this back four that do tend to concede at least one goal a game. It's best to just make it at least, as few changes as possible. Plus, Tommy can play left centre back. He can play basically across the back four, but we haven't necessarily seen it much at Arsenal. So I think against Nottingham Forest, which sit bottom of the Premier League, I think what better time to see what Tommy can do in that left centre back position. And also, when you think about it, if he can play there, that is a position we probably are going to need him to play in more often between now and the end of the season, because right now we only have one recognised left centre back, and that is Gabriel.
Yeah, spot on. Before my one, because my one's just going to make people cry, as it always does. Sackvik has gone for Holding at the back instead of Gabriel, and I think that's pretty much all the changes he made from his team. My team is different because I just think differently. I do apologise, people, before everyone jumps on me. This is my team. My team is Tommy at the right back. I've gone for Saliba and White at the centre back, KT. Then I've gone for Partey. And this is where it's going to upset people. I've dropped Odegaard. I think we need to give Sambi a chance at centre mid with Xhaka. I just think it's a possibility it could work. I this is just my opinion. This is, and I've obviously dropped. Now, the reason I've dropped, I'm going to have to explain the Jesus situation.
I know what you're going to say, but yeah.
It's the yellow card.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we haven't got much choice with Saliba now, because if Gabriel is injured, we've got to play Saliba. But the Jesus one, we kind of still can drop him if we can play Kane Edwards. And I'm skipping talking about Eddie because I just don't think he could do it. I think Kane Edwards could be given a shot if you've got Saka and Martinelli on both sides. You've got the experience and you've got the flair. Kane Edwards is also very fast. I think he could possibly do it against Forest because, and I will say this about Forest, their two centre backs are dodgy. McKenna and Steve Cook, I think, is the other centre back.
What's his physicality like though? Because I've not seen much of the youngster.
He's not very physical.
Okay,
but he's quick and nimble. I would have preferred to have kept Mika Bieref back in our squad instead of sending him out on loan.
That's international, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's a big lad,
unit,
tall. Yeah, so that's just me, and obviously we can't call him back. Even Balogun, I would have had him as well, but it is what it is. We can't change that. But Kane Edwards is an option, and I think I've seen enough of Eddie now. I know a lot of people are still, I'm not sure, and all Eddie's going to do it. I just don't think he can. He could have done it last night, and he didn't.
Not for me.
So I can't keep giving someone a chance all the time. I just can't, because this is football. Football moves on.
Yeah,
you kind 100%. Of. And to be fair to Eddie, if we keep keeping him and we're holding his career back himself, because maybe it just doesn't suit him at Arsenal. Maybe it just doesn't suit him. Maybe he needs the constant need to play. Like, I think, was it you, G, that said it about going to Crystal Palace or something like that?
Yeah. I think what it is with our lineup at the moment is, and I don't know if you two agree, because I know obviously you've picked a very different 11 from me and Brenny, but I think realistically, like, of all the players we have in our squad and the players that are currently unavailable, if I include the likes of El Nene, Smith Rowe, and who is the other one? Oh gosh, El Nene, Smith Rowe, and Zinchenko. For me, Zinchenko and Smith Rowe are the only two players for me in the wider squad that really week in, week out, there will be a decision to be made. Because I think if you've both got Zini and KT fit, you've got to make a call. Who do we play? If you've got ESR fit, you can make a call. You know, do we play him in the kind of number 10 role instead of Odegaard? Or do we play him on the left, instead of Martinelli? But the other players, like, for me, at the moment, the decision, Arteta doesn't have, a difficult decision. And for me, that's an issue. Then what that tells me, if we can sit here and basically, albeit for your lineup, but if we can sit here and 9 out of 10 fans basically pick the same lineup, albeit maybe the odd one player out, what that does tell me is that we have a very good first 11, but what it also tells me is that we are lacking in squad depth. Because in my personal, humble opinion, the only two players in this wider squad that could challenge this 11 is ESR and Zinchenko, and both are not fit.
100%.
Right, before I go into some more comments, I'm just going to say that the Armoury did post a poll earlier on Twitter, and we have got the results. So with Gabriel looking in an early doubt for Sunday, who would you have partner Saliba at centre-back? So the poll was Ben White, Rob Holding, this has probably upset Tony quite a lot, and Tomiyasu. And who won quite easily was Ben White, followed by Tomiyasu.
I'm surprised Holding got any votes, man.
Well, you know what? Out of 261 votes, I can't do maths very quick, but that has got to be less than 25.
Listen, that was Tony on all these burner accounts, man. Voting for Holding.
Let's get into the comments quickly, because I want to, obviously, G's going to know what's coming up, and so is Brenny, because Brenny's always done it before me as well. It's the challenge shortly. Forest look hopeless. Liverpool match gave them home. We have to shut that fault down from the whistle. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what you meant. Big up to Booze and Bants. Hope you're doing well. Luke saying here, we brought Zinchenko because we thought Tierney would miss most of the season. Yes, it's Zinchenko who's been injured.
Yeah, it's crazy,
do hope it's mental there, isn't it?
And to be
Bobby,
honest, there's not much news on like what's wrong with him when he's coming back. Like it's just radio silence.
It's not looking good, is it? Bobby, did you forget your vitamins today? No. I just think outside the box. I just want to do it. I want to give these kids a chance at some point. That's just I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I felt like dropping a lot of them and picking up under 21s after yesterday. Don't blame your anger at the moment. A fullbacks and White at centre back are the only place changes could be made. Our first 14 players have to work out. There isn't much support behind them. Yes, Bobby has lost it. Sit Odegaard for Sam B. Yellow is the only reason. It's not me. Look, I just think differently. I think Sambi's going to be a very good centre mid, and I think this is a game we could actually risk it, to be honest. Big up to Albert, JTTV. Good evening, Armoury, of course. I had to pop in the chat. Big up to Brenny and Lord Granville. Haaland, right? Okay. That's obviously something personal between you two. I don't know what that is.
He does. He comes up with all these like interesting names for me.
Bobby, I thought you had Eddie up top now. Then I look closer. Now, since we had Matt Smith sitting and we do it, play him. Yeah, I don't think Matt Smith's going to make it either, unfortunately. And everyone's saying hello. Holding getting votes is Bobby like crazy.
You're right about
Thank you, DWTT. Thank you for so much. Yeah. But this is the best part of the show for me. I enjoy this. Brenny and G, not so much. I enjoy it.
It wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad first time round. It's
Yeah, no one's going to join me next week for it. I'll guarantee that for the FC
I need to look at this Nottingham Forest squad because boy.
Well, we've got an intro first, so you got time. It's the screen already. It is. Right. I'm going to let Brenny have the first choice today. So it's going to be 3 for Benny and 2 for GTalks. So Brenny, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest. Who are we going for first? It's going to cause us a bit of an issue for Forest.
Well, there's a few of the players I already know, but I would go in the midfield with Czech Kouyaté.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Is that his face now? Isn't it? Why can't I find you? How do we spell his other? No.
Is it CH?
Yeah.
EI?
Yeah. CHEIKHOU.
Yeah.
Is that the? Hang on. So how do you spell his surname?
It's KOU.
Yep.
YATE.
Yeah.
Why is he not coming up? That's a good start, isn't it?
How
do you spell his first name?
Just fling another one in there. There must be another Kouyaté.
So CHEIK. That's the first 5 letters. And then HOU.
Yeah.
Say that again. Sorry, Brenny.
CHEIK.
Yep.
And then HOU.
Okay. Oh, why can I not find him? Well, I'm just going to put Kouyaté in there.
Yeah, just put a Kouyaté, man.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll be here forever. Right, so that's not him, but we know what we're on about. Right, so second one from you then, GTalks.
A player that impressed me quite a bit at his former club, but not so much since he's moved to Forest, is Emmanuel Dennis, the Nigerian striker.
Right, where are we putting him now?
Putting him down the middle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Don't do this to me. Seriously, Pip? Oh, there he is.
I'm sure he plays as a centre forward. I've not seen him anywhere else.
He also plays on the left and the right. He plays multiple roles. He does. Yeah. So, Brenny, your third choice?
I'll go with Jesse Lingard.
Okay, we're putting him in midfield, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, GTalks?
Oh, boy. I'm going to have to go with... I'm looking at the defenders. I'm trying to not pack out the midfield and the strikes.
Yeah.
Let's go with Let's go with ex-Spurs player. Controversial here. Serge Aurier. Yeah.
I weren't even gonna even.
Okay.
Let's go with Serge Aurier.
Right, yeah. Brenny, your final choice?
Yeah, you gotta go with Henderson. He did well last week, keep a clean sheet. He's not a bad keeper.
Yeah. There we go. Right. So left backs is obviously going to be Tierney because it's the only one we've got available. Yeah.
Yep.
Saliba at centre back.
I could have gone with Morgan Gibbs White, man. Oh.
Yeah, I was thinking
that.
Yeah.
You've done it. You've done the Tottenham.
Yeah, I know, man. You know what the funny thing is? It's because I've actually met him, and you know what? He's actually a nice geezer.
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah, he's actually nice. He's a bit of a reputation on him, and obviously he played for Spurs, but he's actually quite a down to earth geezer.
Right. What other centre back are we going to go for? We're going to go for Gabriel.
Yeah, I think at this stage we're going to have to, really, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, I've had this problem before. There he is.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Right. Last midfielder. Who are we going with?
It's got to be Xhaka, innit?
Yeah. Happy with that, Brenny?
Yeah, man. It's got to be Xhaka, man. I think out of the two teams right now, Xhaka is the star midfielder, to be honest.
Right and left now then for the Arsenal. So what are we doing?
Simple, man. Easy.
Yeah. Not difficult, is it?
Yeah, Saka and Gabby, man. It's got to be.
I don't want to tell you what to do, so I want you guys to choose. It's not me.
None of this Nelson and Marquinhos nonsense.
Look, I didn't go for him. I didn't choose him. Right, so this is the lineup. We've got Henderson in goal, Aurier, who GTalks chose, just so everyone is very aware of that.
It was me. I chose him.
Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney, Lingard, Koyate, but not that one. It's the one that I can't seem to find. Xhaka, Saka, Martinelli, and Dennis. What do we think of that lineup? Because I'm not that convinced by that one, to be fair.
It's not as strong as that lineup we had last week with the Southampton one.
It's not, is it? That's really weird, isn't it?
No.
You know what it is though? It's like if you chop out maybe one or two players, it'd probably be a lot stronger. Like I mean, if we had stuck maybe Dennis on the left and gone with Jesus in the middle, I mean it changes the whole dynamics of that side. I think that team would struggle. I think that team would. I think maybe top half of the table, somewhere between 10th and 7th.
I agree.
Yeah, that's not one of our best lineups, I have to say. I think next week's is going to be worse, but we'll get.
It was my fault, man. I think the Dennis and the Aurier selection messed up the whole thing.
Yeah. Right. So let's get into predictions. We'll start with GTalks this time.
You know what, man? I was on a show, like I said, midweek, and I went big and I went confident, and I said 4-0. So I'm gonna stick to my guns and I'm gonna big up my chest and I'm gonna say 4-0 still. I'm not gonna go back on my score prediction.
Brenny?
3-0.
Okay.
I'll go with 3.
Okay. Right, yeah. People in the comments, if you've got your predictions in, please, that'd be really handy.
Bobby thinks we bumped our head.
Yeah, I do.
I can see his reaction. He's scratching his head like, what's going on here?
What am I thinking? I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Arsenal. I think it's going to be harder than we really want it to be. I don't think the performance is still going to be there. It's a concern. We haven't kept a clean sheet at home yet. Forest have got some dangerous players. Brennan Johnson is one player neither of you mentioned, which I was quite surprised with because I think he's going to give Tierney a bit of a nightmare. I can't see. I could probably see a 3-1, but I can't see a 4-0. Definitely can't see a 4-0. Not with the way that we've been playing recently. Yeah, it's not to be unfair to our squad. It's our form at the moment suggests to me I can't see a 4-0. I'll be delighted if it is. Right. I'm not doing a watch along either, so I can scream, and my son will probably scream with me as well. But Tony, oh my word, is going for a 1-0 to the Arsenal and Henderson own goal. Okay, I'm going to write that one down, Tony, because
We'll
Everyone
see.
says I'm going mad, but yeah, I'm going to stick with 2-1 because I think that is how it should be. But obviously, GTalks, you'll be very happy with a 4-0. Brenny, you'll be happy with a 3-0. But would you be happy with a 1-0, 2-1 win against Forest, considering the bottom of the table?
3 points. Yeah, I would be.
Yeah. What about you, G?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I've been having so many of these conversations this week saying that, what I want to see is I want to see an improved performance. And that's just going off the back of how we've been performing over the last 4 or 5 games. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. And right now, if you offered me a 1-0, 3 points, I'd take it. So it's just at the end of the day, like, as much as our form has dipped, and I think a lot of our performances most recently have been below par, we've also got to just be kind of pragmatic about it. And the most important thing, game to game, is picking up the maximum amount of points. So however, by any means necessary, we get the 3 points. If it's 1-0, if it's 6-0, you know what? We take the 3 points and we move. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's get into some comments. Luke, obviously taking part in the quiz there. I'll go with Nico Williams, Morgan Gibbs White. Yeah, Morgan Gibbs White is a very good player. I've got to see him quite a lot at the Wolves. He's so talented. Nico Williams, again, a good right back, fast, could give Tierney. Honestly, if Brennan Johnson and Nico Williams are down on that right, Tierney's going to have one heck of a day. And Luke forgot about Lingard. To be fair, I think the Forest fans have as well, because he hardly appears when he actually does play.
The thing is, he always turns up against Arsenal, though.
Yeah, and that's my problem. Got to be honest here, I can't back us right now because of how we're playing. I'm going to go with no, mate. There's nothing wrong with thinking this way at the moment. I kind of get your thoughts. Tony's now gone. Changed my mind. 9-0 to Arsenal. Right. Well, I'm gonna write them both down. So.
I will say something though, yeah. If we lose 1-0 to Forest, just log out of Twitter.
Yeah.
Just log out. Just log out and enjoy the weekend. The rest of your weekend.
Yeah. The problem is I'm doing a watch long after that game, so I can't hide. Unfortunately, the problem is I've realised I'll be doing 2 weeks non-stop every day of streams, so I can't hide because I've just got so much to do. I've got previews. Then watch alongs. I do stuff on FTSN. I've got I can't hide, sadly. But yeah, if we lose 1-0 to Arsenal, questions have got to be asked. What the heck's going on? Because something's not right, and I don't know what it is. But they don't seem. Now you can both say absolutely no. But do you think that choosing Odegaard to be captain was maybe the wrong decision now, with the way that he is? Just not. There's nothing wrong with the way he is, but he's not very vocal. I don't think.
For me, I wouldn't have picked him.
No,
and it's that simple. I mean, in terms of like playing football as a youngster on Saturday, Sunday league, in terms of watching football and seeing players that have been captain, in Arsenal sides across, European football, world football, for me, he just doesn't fit the mold. So. I mean, he wouldn't even, Odegaard wouldn't even have been on my list of 5 of potential captains. The issue is, I don't see him in the dressing room. I don't see him in and around the squad. I don't see his influence. The thing is, for me, I don't see it on the pitch. So I can't imagine all of a sudden when they come off the pitch and they go into the dressing room and in the canteen and on the training field, he all of a sudden turns into a different person or a bigger personality. So I don't quite get it. And I know there was a lot of controversy about, potentially who to pick as captain. A lot of people had their favorites. A lot of people were resigned to the fact that they didn't want Xhaka to be captain. But I think if we were to all reflect on that now, I mean, there's very few, as much as I don't think Odegaard is the right captain for Arsenal, I do still question, and I do still have my doubts that we possess a player that is the right captain or the right individual, the right character to be captain, period. I think it's still a very young team. It's still a team that's really, very much developing. So when I look at the quality of the players, when I look at the age of the players, and I look at the character of the players, there's very few players that I think would be good captains. And right now, the only person that I could see really to captain this side is Xhaka. And it's crazy that I say that, because obviously we know how the last time that all ended when he had the captain's armband. But I mean, when you look at the experienced players we have in our team, Partey, an exceptionally gifted player, but he's not captain. He's absolutely mute on the pitch. And you can't have that as a character, as a characteristic if you're a captain. When I look at some of the other like potentials, Gabriel is very vocal, I feel, on the pitch. But again, he's quite young. Ramsdale, I think, again, can be very vocal, is really, really good. At the same time, reasonably young. Katie is in and out of the side. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one. But I think right now, in terms of how they're playing and the experience or lack of experience in the squad, I think all fingers and all arrows point to Xhaka for me. But in an ideal world, I don't think we possess the right player right now to be my kind of perfect captain for Arsenal. I don't.
What about you, Brenny?
I wouldn't have had Odegaard as captain. And I agree with everything that G just mentioned just now. And for me, Kieran Tierney would have been my captain. He's very vocal, and you know what I mean, very vocal. He's played a number of games for Celtic. People forget that. And I know it's a Scottish league. He has won trophies. But if you're playing for Celtic Range, you will win trophies. But at the end of the day, you can only beat what's in front of you. And I also believe that I personally think he would make him captain. And regardless of the fact that the players that we have are young, when I look at, say, Ben White, he could be a potential captain. It's only from watching the documentary where by the end of it, you can actually see who the leaders are. You know what I mean? In the documentary, as well as and what they show on the pitch as well, even before game as well. For me, Kieran Tierney would have been my number one. But then I look at Ramsdale as well, and GTalks, when you mention like with age and everything else, I look at it now and I look at Tony Adams is probably the best example, because he wasn't even 22 yet when he was given the captain's armband, even though he played a number of games already previously. Because I know under Don Howe he was in and out of the side, and then when George Graham came in, he was a regular from the get go. But I've always believed that whoever's going to be your captain, the majority, it's normally your centre backs or your centre midfield, or it could be anyone in midfield. I've never really gone with like a number 10 or a number 9 to be your captain. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, Kieran Tierney would have been my captain.
Yeah, I wasn't convinced by Odegaard. Still not, to be honest. It's kind of concerning. I do get the Xhaka thing, but I think he's changed man now. Someone's brought up a good comment, which I will bring up in a very short moment, but I just want to catch up on some comments. DWT want 3-0 to show return to form, but 2-1 Thriller seems to be coming. Xhaka is the real captain. I do believe that myself. Do you guys buy into this fatigue narrative?
That's a good question.
Very good question. I don't mind going first. You know what it is? I've had this debate and I've had this argument with quite a few Arsenal fans, like group chats, WhatsApp groups, in person, online, whatever. And I do think that certain players will struggle to play. I mean, at the beginning of the season, to kind of put it into context, when the transfer window closed, I felt like we were short. And my argument was that we don't have squad depth to compete on several fronts, playing twice, maybe 3 times a week. And a lot of the backlash that I got or arguments that came my way was that these are elite athletes. They have to be able to play, 2-3 games a week comfortably, 50 to 70 games if they really want to get to that elite level. But when you look at our squad, I mean, how many of those players have played that many games consistently in their careers? That is, for me, generally, that is something that, you kind of build up to. And by the time you kind of hit the height of your career, the peak of your powers in your prime, you can comfortably play. I think there's no coincidence that the likes of Xhaka and even Gabriel tend to be the two players that have played the most games in this Arsenal side. Xhaka just seems to be able to play 90 minutes every single day of the week. Yeah. And then you've got Gabriel, who, again, physically, even though he's a baby in terms of, centre backs, he's 24, but he's an absolute unit. Physically, he's a specimen. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like he could cope with it. Whereas when you look at the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe and Martinelli and Sambi, I just don't think at that age and the stage of their career and their development, I just don't know if they have it in them at this stage, to play 2-3 times a week. So, and I also feel like for a squad situation and a rotational purpose, we need to have 2 players of similar or the same ability for both positions. So I think the fatigue narrative, that kind of gives the impression that it is kind of made up and it is kind of an excuse. I think it all depends on the individual player. In all honesty, I don't think you can just look at a squad and say, oh, they should all be able to play 2-3 times a week, or they should all not be able to play 2-3 times a week. Because I'll give you an example. If you look at the way Pep Guardiola has managed Phil Foden's rise to the top, people talk about Phil Foden being an exceptionally young player. He doesn't play week in, week out at City. If you actually look at his stats and the amount of games he's played, he will have periods in the team when he's in the side week in, week out for 4 or 5 games on the trot. And then there will be 4 or 5 games on the trot when he's benched and he has the likes of a Bernardo Silva or somebody to come in for him. So I'm in both sides with this one. I think fatigue is real for some players, but I think in other instances it can be used as somewhat of an excuse.
What about you, Brenny?
Yeah. Well, that breakdown from G, man. Yeah, it's I do agree 100% what you just said. And for me, I think it's all about how the players. It's all about how the players look after themselves after games. You know what I mean? You have a game on a Saturday. You could be playing a 3 o'clock game, and then it's how you look after yourself, how you condition yourself. You know what I mean? It's what you do in training. Yeah. And then say you have a game in midweek, it would be a Thursday, then you're ready, fit and you're ready. I think with the fatigue thing, it would come in later on in the season if we have injuries. You know what I mean? If we haven't added a couple more players in the January window, say like March, for example, where players will be playing in, if we're still in European competition, still in Cup, the FA Cup, I think that's when we can, this question can come about again about fatigue. But right now, I don't buy into that right now, to be honest.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So it's all about how you look after yourself.
Yeah. Tony answered that question. I do, Luke. They're a young side. Notice how Xhaka and Partey appear to be the most consistent. DWT on the captain chat was Xhaka and Jesus, which I actually thought was actually quite a good shout. Actually, I never thought of him before. Are showing captain like traits we need. As soon as Jesus put on the red shirt, things look different, better. He's got a good point with Jesus, I have to say. Luke coming back to Tony saying it's only October though. If they are already tired, how are we going to cope for the rest of the season?
It is a big concern.
Tony going back with, I hear you. This is why we need the depth. January is key, very key. We cannot sit on our hands. Thank goodness we have a World Cup break. Yeah, very true. Our form dipping in the second half of last 5 matches. Look tired, fatigue, mental or physical. Can't change what we see, can we? No, we can't. King saying here we definitely need to add quality more than quantity. 2 players is needed in January. Yes. 50 million no to get 2 quality signings. could be pushing it a bit, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, DWT saying here we are 5 players from competing in Europe. Number 9 winger, number 8, number 6, and a CB or a fullback. I think he's got that spot on actually.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's exactly what is on my shopping list. So
Yeah.
And Pyro Destiny saying big up the lads. Right, so before we shut down the show, Brenny, where can they find you, mate?
Can be found on Twitter. I've been on it quite a bit recently. I have an Instagram account which I'm trying to get grips with again because it's been a while since I've used that as well. So yeah, you can find me on there, and from time to time on here.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you for coming on as well, mate. But G, I'm obviously going to give you a minute to talk about what's coming up with you, and I obviously appreciate you coming on as well. But it's your minute now.
Yeah, no problem. It's always a pleasure, man. Especially like obviously coming on a stream with you hosting, Bobby. I know you said to me the other day you've not been doing this long, but yeah, absolutely natural. And obviously,
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
And obviously, Brenny, we've been on a couple of streams together now, so yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Always, man.
But yeah, I mean, I've got my GTalks show launching should be next Wednesday. So that is going to be a regular thing. Ideally, it's probably going to be every Wednesday at either 7 or 8 o'clock. I know it's going to be clashing with Champions League football, but hey, we just got to do what we got to do. In terms of what
we'll change it next season, it's fine. We'll change the time because we'll be there next season. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Change it to Thursday. Change it to Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it will only clash with Spurs games, so it's fine next Thursday.
Yeah. Thursday nights again.
Trust me, man. Trust me.
Sorry,
but yeah, in terms of obviously what we're going to be discussing, it really just depends what's going on in the world of Arsenal. So, you know, it might be that we've got a talking point from this week. It might be something that pops off on Wednesday morning or just before we kick off the show. So it's going to be subject to change. So but I'm really looking forward to obviously launching that. In terms of where you can find me, just GTalks Arsenal. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter is where I spend most of my time. Instagram and Facebook, I kind of just share what I do on Twitter to Instagram and Facebook. So if you really want to interact with me, it's Twitter where you're going to find me.
Yeah. But guys, I really appreciate it. It's been a great show again. It used to be only half an hour, but since I've taken over, it's nearly an hour. I do apologise, but it's great to have a good chat, and we try and get as much in as we can. Big up to the great DWTT, Music United TV. Big up to you. Thank you very much. I do hope everyone has a good day, night, wherever they are in the world. Thank you, King. Yeah, whatever. I'm not, but thank you, King. I'll chat with you in WhatsApp about that. Luke, well done. Thank you very much. You're all right. Everyone's being nice now. Stop it. Yeah, Brenny and G have done great. But guys, I will be back. When will I be back? I will be back next Wednesday. I've got a feeling to do no one's going to join me for the match preview for FC Zurich. It might just be me by myself talking to myself. It's fine.
What's on Wednesday? I think I'll be free. I'll be free in the afternoon. What time are you going to be doing Wednesday?
I'll let you know because my son's back at school, so I might be able to do some daytime streams because obviously it's half term, so my son, and obviously there is a Arsenal watch along coming up next Thursday, Arsenal versus FC Zurich. But I'm also going to do the Chelsea Arsenal game on the Sunday, which is a 12 o'clock kickoff. So yes, I am going to do that one as well. And we'll obviously have a preview for the Chelsea game next week, which will be interesting. And we'll have to see if we can get a Chelsea fan on, because that would be quite interesting to see if we can have a bit of nice chat from them as well, if we can find one.
That wouldn't be hard.
But guys, we are definitely out. But as always, it's definitely come on, you Gunners. Take care, everyone.